today we will cover regarding screening part. There are many candidates, they believe that screening is something which is not a scientific testing method, and eventually they feel that आज हमारा दिन नहीं था तो हम नहीं हो पाए. तो सर what would be that thing? क्या वो सच में ऐसा होता है, and is it what they say is the true thing?
Okay, this is a very you want to know many things about screening. I would definitely I would like to tell you also, because there is a lot of myths about screening. Screening is basically, if you look at it, it's a first round of elimination process, right, at the SSBs, because of the large number of candidates landing up there. So in the screening, as you all are aware, there are two portions. One is OIR test, second is PPDT. Now you will find OIR has got less weightage. ऐसे नहीं कोई weightage नहीं है. We will not waste our time there. Weightage is less. However, the PPDT has got maximum weightage, more weightage rather. You can say, if you want to be figurative, it is 40% to 60%. You can say that. Now, generally we find, there is no fixed, कोई sacrosanct नहीं है. It's not fixed there. But you will generally find around 30% of the candidates are selected out of the screening process. Around say 30%. It could be 20, it could be 40, but generally this is what happens in an average. Now, a lot of people get confused, a lot of candidates get confused ki why I was not selected or why I was selected. Both are confusion, but their confusion will remain throughout SSB. So don't worry about it. What the candidate need to understand is your OIR should be more than 60% correct. Generally, to be on the safer side. 60% means OIR 3. That's what called OIR 3. OIR 3 means 60% and above. OIR 2 is 80% to 60% to 80% is OIR. Correction. 60% is OIR 3. 60 to 70 to 90% is OIR 2 and above 90 is OIR 1. Okay. Now, it is no requirement that you have to be OIR 1 or you don't have to be 90% and above and all. If you are 60% and above, you are generally comfortable there. Right. Now, but more stress is on the PPDT side. Now, as you ask me, what are we seeing? All the three assessors sitting there, what are we seeing in you? We are not really going into the nitty-gritties of your personality there. We are not going into your OLQs. We are not deeply delving into your personality assessment. But we are having a peripheral look of your personality. Now, in that peripheral look, we would definitely like to see your imagination level. That is why the picture has been shown to you. And we will see your level of perception. And what is perception? What is the impression you have created after seeing a picture? That is perception. So your perception may not be similar to somebody else's perception. That's the reason when you go for a coached response, you try to by heart the stories of TAT pictures, you are a misfit for us, because then you are only doing a disservice to yourself. Reason? That means you are imitating somebody else. So many times what happens is we keep seeing so many stories are repeatedly coming. Most of the time we will see coached stories coming time and again, written by candidates and narrated also. So that itself is an indication that you are not you're not using your own perception. You are borrowed that perception from somebody else and you're becoming an artificial personality. This is one of the reasons of non-selection. Now, as I've told you, what are we seeing? We are seeing your perception levels. We are seeing your communication skill also. Also, we are seeing your tact and warmth when you speak to others. And your confidence level to speak in front of the group. Because this is a group of strangers, as you know it. It's the first time people are sitting together and discussing. So, we are also seeing how amicable you are to others' opinions. Are you able to have a two-way communication, or are you a dominating personality? We don't like dominating personalities, okay? So, a good leader is a person who got a good listening power also. But at the same time, a good leader or a leader in the making will be polite, though he will be firm. Firm means you will give your expressions, you will give your opinion in spite of obstacles put by others in the group. So I am also seeing how well articulative you are. Are you able to talk to people in a manner which is desired? And you are able to convince others about your own logic, about the picture as well as your story. Now, we will be having assessment in 3 patterns there. Generally the assessors, because as I've told you, we are only having a peripheral look of your personality. So we only put N, Y and D as our assessment. N is no, as you know, Y is yes, and D is doubtful. Doubtful is in between. So naturally, if all of us give N, you are out. All of us given you Y, happily you are in. But D, all of us are giving D. That is also not very good. But a Y and 2D or 2Y and 1D with a good OAR, you are in. You understand the point? So how do we do this assessment? Which I told you earlier. How good is your perception? You have been shown a picture. You have to write a story. That picture is hazy, not a very clear picture. Picture has certain characters. So now I am going to see, can you go into the picture, identify yourself with a character and think logically and realistically, my character in this picture, in this kind of environment and in this kind of background, what am I doing there? And also, why I am doing this. You understand the point? So all these coach candidates, what they do is, they write a story all right, but then that story is totally coached response and you already preconceived the story in mind. Now you have by hearted 5 stories, 10 stories, जो भी आपके हाथ में है. Then the moment you see the picture, आप अपनी story ठोक दिए उसके ऊपर. So naturally you are doing reverse engineering. Na? The picture should give a response. The picture should, create an impression in you. It should trigger your imagination and then you have to give a response. But ulta kya ho raha hai? Instead of picture triggering you, you are triggering the picture. You are writing whatever you have in mind. That is how you will make yourself non-selective. You understand? So you make our job very easy. So this is why coached candidates is a misfit. So what is required? Go there with an open mind, see the picture. Your imagination should be powerful. You should be able to see that picture in a 3-dimensional form. Get into the picture, become one of the main characters there of generally your age group and start asking few questions to yourself. What are the questions? Who am I in this picture? What is my profile there? Am I a student? Am I a professor? What am I? Am I a lecturer? Am I a police officer? Kya hu main? But have self-esteem also. एक बंदा नीचे बैठा हुआ है, तुम बोलते मैं भिखारी हूँ. Is it a good way of identifying yourself? So you got low self-esteem. See, my assessment देखो कैसे होता है फिर ना. So everything what the story you make is out of your imagination. Through your story, I am going to assess your personality because you are that main character there. And you must say, if you are doing something there, you are doing some action, why you are doing that action? What is the reason behind it? What is the need to do this action? So if you write a story where there is no need generation, there is nothing required for you to do this, such a job, but you are still doing it, that gives a very negative impact because that means you are hollow. That is not your imagination. I'll give you a simple example. You will find a lot of stories like this all from internet and many books and all, and coached candidates का भी ऐसे होता है story. जैसे Ram is a college student. One day he was passing through a slum. He found a lot of children playing there without any studies. They don't study anything. They are just playing in the garbage. He decided to teach them 1 hour every day. फिर बोलेंगे कैसे पढ़ाई करवाए उसको. Now you tell me, तुम सड़क पे जा रहे हैं, बड़े orphan children खेलते हैं, तो कभी उसको सिखाया कभी? Have you ever thought of teaching them every day 1 hour? तुम किसको उल्लू बना रहे हो? You're only cheating yourself now when you write such a story. You don't believe in that story. You try to make me believe that you are a person like that. So the moment you write such stories, I immediately come to know you are faking your personality. You are not that person. You are just writing something to please me. Where is the need for doing it? But when you write the same theme in a different manner, say in the same theme, you say COVID time was there, children were not going to school. In his society, there are few sweepers also work there. So he found the sweepers' children or wailing away time, playing there, not doing anything. You are also sitting at home. You know that children from childhood, isn't it? So you have an affection for that children. So then you decided probably, okay, 1 hour I'll call them and start teaching them the, some books or give them some story books and, just check up their studies little bit, putting little time over them because you got a lot of time. Now you look at this, there is a need generation here. What is a need generation? Those children are known to you. You are passionate about them. The children are wailing away time. You are also got a lot of time with you. So logically, there is a room for you to spend time with them. This becomes any day a better story than the first story. You understand what I am saying? So this is what I am going to see. Your perception and the perception should look genuine. It should be realistic to your character and personality. And I am going to see glimpses of your traits or value systems which you have it. And of course, in the group discussion stage also, everybody is reading their stories. Everybody has read the stories to each other. Now I am going to see who is contributing towards the group effort. And what is a group effort? Of coming to a commonly agreed group story. Now, who is the candidate who is pushing the group towards a common conclusion? He is a desirable candidate for me. लेकिन होता नहीं है उधर इतनी गदर होता है, you know that better. It's like a fish market there. Everybody starts shouting at each other. Forget that they have to make a story also out of it. So there is a lot of chaos, pandemonium. In the chaos, we close it. In 15 minutes, khatam ho gaya. We close it down. And when we see the candidates, many times we see nobody is come up to the expected level. So the whole group is washed out. It is happening because of bad coaching. You understand what I am saying? Yes. If you are not badly coached, you will do well. We have more than 80% screening result. More than 80%. Yes. We have. Why we are doing? Because we don't advocate them to do coaching. We just tell them guidelines how to make a good story.
Yes, sir.
Imagination. Yes. You understood what this is all about screening?
Yes, sir. Very nicely explained, sir. Sir, one question which generally comes in the mind of many candidates that the story should have actions and lot of micro actions in it. So, sir, like generally what happens is when they write any story, when there are a lot of candidates, when they write story, the story goes away from the picture, sir. And generally they land up writing some other conclusion which is nowhere relevant. And they meet big objectives which is like a kind of a person who is basically an IAS officer and basically he is developing the whole country. So what would be the advice, like where the story should lie and what are things to be met in the perception?
Okay, good question. You also know, when you write a made up story, when you don't find yourself in that picture, you are writing about a character which is a wishful character or a character like a Superman. या मूवी में रजनीकांत वाला जो character बना रहे हो आप अपने picture story में. So naturally it will look fake only, That means you are doing something superhuman. Single character वो पूरा city को पढ़ाई करवाए बच्चों को. Can you do that? You cannot do it. So what are you trying to say? You are in a dream world. I find you are a dreamer then. You are cut off from the realities of yours. So I would suggest everybody listening to me who are defense aspirants that you must look for realistic stories. Pitch yourself to write a story where you firmly believe in that story and say, yes, I can do this. I am capable of doing this action which I told. But let me tell you, you wrote something some story, you don't know anything about that action. Will you be able to do justice to that? Say your main character is a nuclear scientist. आता है story. Can you write about the action कि nuclear scientist ने क्या किया है अपने factory, अपने plant के अंदर, in the reactor? कुछ लिख सकते हैं आप? You don't know. Even I don't know what the nuclear scientist is going to do. So you pitch up such characters to impress me. अपने मेन कैरेक्टर एमएलए बना दिया, मंत्री बना दिया, स्वच्छ भारत अभियान करके बड़ा बड़ा वर्ड्स डाल दिए उसमें, यू नो, थ्रू सम हेवी वर्ड्स, वो स्वच्छ भारत अभियान करवा दिया. You're only faking yourself because you really don't know exactly what is the action required there. So I would suggest you must write a story where you know the action absolutely correctly in the right sequence. That means you must have familiarity with your story. The action should be familiar to you. So tell me, you find a lot of buildings, some bagicha hai samne. Isn't it better you should pitch up yourself with a college campus rather than going for parliament? You understand my point? So this is a mistake candidates do. They must go for a familiar situation, familiar background, familiar circumstances, and then can pitch themselves with a realistic imagination story. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Very well answered and very in a detailed way you answered, sir. Sir, one last question regarding screening, which generally candidates face an issue that when they enter, when they are sitting, they actually point out in the GD कि ऐसे नहीं बोलना है, वैसे करना है, and all those things. Do non-verbal way of method of communication in the GD part is also being looked by assessors?
Definitely. Assessor is going to see your body language, your way of speaking. Are you obstructive to the group's effort? Are you a dominating personality? Then it is not desirable. You're not looking for a dictator kind of leader, okay? So we are looking for a democratic leader who is accessible also, who is listening to others also, who is open to criticism also. You understand? And who is able to communicate in a two-way channel. And also who is not judgmental about others' points. You should never say in a group discussion, I don't like this, or I don't agree with you, or you are wrong. It's a very bad thing to say. You are wrong means you are judgmental. Nobody is wrong. It is his perception. This is your perception. How can you say your perception is better than others' perception? That is snobbish, no? So I am going to see, are you arrogant? Are you polite? Are you open to discussion? Or you have a broad base when you discuss anything with your subordinates and colleagues. So these are all I'm going to see. And also I'm going to see your imagination level. And how well you can push your group tactfully to come to a common conclusion. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very well explained regarding screening. Sir have explained in a very detailed way about ND, NYD concept, which is basically no, yes, and doubtful. Which generally many candidates have got a thing that what exactly can assessors assess. So sir ने काफ़ी अच्छे से crisp में बताया. Sir have also highlighted regarding perception, then particular tactfulness, the level of imagination any candidate should have, the realistic idea in general, and exactly you need to meet a crisis in the picture. An objective.
This is where your general awareness comes to your help. If your general awareness is good, you will have better ideas. You will have better imagination. Your ideas will be matured. You will not think like a child. So if your awareness is very poor, you will write stories of a child. Chanda Mama story लिखेंगे आप उधर जाके. If you want to write a matured story commensurating with your age, you must have good general awareness. This is where it helps. It's not only there, everywhere it helps, but this is one of the predominant factor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very well explained and very well connected with general awareness part, because that is how overall performance is, what is the demand. And sir, we will cover the SSB's phase 2, because after you get screened in, there is another set of things which sir have, and every assessor have got a very good grip of it. So thank you so much, sir, for giving a very valuable thing for screening in general. I wish all the candidates out here just not make it to the screening, but also for the phase 2. So do check out our second video. Thank you.
You're welcome.